Hello everybody, this is Alessandro from Peoplerise.
This is Flavio. I'm working for Peoplerise, a consulting firm based in Padova, Italy. Today I will tell you a little bit about Theory U in corporate context. Using Theory U in a corporate environment is possible and is effective.
It is a great framework for mind-focused people like organization and corporate worlds are, where they need to have a kind of a framework to rely on to, let's say, okay, I understand where I'm going on, what is going to happen. So the very first thing that is interesting in using Theory U within organizational worldwide corporate context is the clarity of a potential process to follow.
In corporation, we have developmental issues which are very complex, like the issue that we find in society. One is actually mirroring the other. And because of that, a new mindset is necessary, a mindset that is addressing a complex adaptive system, going beyond planning and taking people into a journey of exploration.
There are a number of steps that usually companies do not approach in development projects. Co-initiation, the ability, let me say, to involve stakeholders in a real co-creative way before starting is something as simple as difficult in companies where they have time pressures, politics, silos within the organization. So the only fact that you bring into a conversation that is still open, is still clay, people from different departments to work together, it's already enough. I mean, it gives already a totally different energy to our project.
We use different practices from the Presencing Institute during our journey. For example, 3D and 4D mapping are very useful in the phase of the initial assessment before starting work. Or learning journey and stakeholder interview are very important when you do your field work in the co-sensing phase, as well as the empathy walk or coaching circle help the team to go beyond formal language.
And then in the co-sensing phase in a company, it's interesting because you start seeing the reality, and maybe a CEO goes into the shops, maybe a manager, an executive starts talking with a professional, and by preparing them to speak in an horizontal, non-judgmental way, you really allow people from the top to realize what is the reality in the field. And this is also of immense value because it allows people to step beyond their prejudgment, their conviction, their assumptions on the reality. So one of the major problems in corporate world is the detachment from real stuff, client issues from top management. They stay on the tower, they don't see what is the reality going on. And through co-sensing experiences, you really allow people to say, this is what's happening. And by doing this together, it's a common sense making understanding. Presencing. That's also very interesting for companies because these companies, maybe some of you have experience from within, they have a very big difficulty in this reflective attitude. All the meetings you usually go into corporate world, they just look forward without reflecting. So this creating a space for deep reflection and connecting the individual will towards the collective project creates an amazing energy for the people to really feel they are creating personal and collective impact towards a project or a client's improvement.
To do that, one important thing is to go beyond the past as much as possible. This happened during the co-sensing phase when the ecosystem of the company is explored by people in first person. They go and do their field work without relying on a consultancy firm who are assessing their ecosystem instead of them. Very important because by doing that you see the underlying dynamics, see what's behind things, and this is a great stimulus to activate creative intuition in human being.
On the right side of the U, it's also very useful in nowadays companies because it allows to step beyond the planning of a 5 years plan that in current world are not useful anymore because the market is too fast. Things change so rapidly that companies are striving for finding something that allow them to really find new ways of project planning, strategy creation. And the right side of the U is gaining a lot of connection with agile prototypes. And this is of immense value for companies because it really brings forward a new way of working within a project-based approach. And by doing this iteration, it allows a new way of working emerging that in co-evolving, in co-evolutions, really create new organizational forms and new organizational model.
A typical work in terms of timing is taking 1 year. So if I think now a quality team in EMEA of one big client we have, they started in December, they did their exploration, December 2017, they did their exploration in Q1 2018. Then in March we met for the presencing moment where they decided what they wanted to do individually in terms of prototyping. And in Q2 and in Q3 we have prototyping interaction where we'll support the client in this understanding of what is feasible and amplifying what is actually working very well. Last thing, a big learning. I understood in these years applying theory U that every U is different, and the biggest learning for me was to start from the pre-existing seed that you find at the client without pushing too much the point of view of the consultant. The most important things, though, is for me the fact that in a U journey, individual wills are activated. So people see by touching reality that things are different from what they thought. They see that they can play a role and they decided that they want to play a role. This is shifting systems in a completely different way, is actually creating engagement in action.